Warm welcome to today's webinar, What's New in OwnCloud Server 10.09 Summer Release, where I will introduce our latest release and all the improvements it brings with it for you. Just some words on my person before we start. My name is Patrick Maier, and I'm product manager for the OwnCloud server and also for the apps around it. With this, I'm responsible for the product strategy and also for product marketing. My main task is to make sure that we build the right things to cope for the needs of our customers and also for our community, of course. So before we start into the actual webinar, I would like to give a short glimpse on our vision for those who don't know OwnCloud that well yet. So OwnCloud is the open platform for more productivity and security in digital collaboration. This means we enable collaboration and increase productivity while providing maximum security. So this is what we pursue, and we built this on 3 pillars. First of all, we're following the open source development model, as we're convinced that it's the right way and that it provides many benefits. For example, we are backed by a huge community of individual developers and interested people that drive innovation for our products, and also the transparency that the openness of our code and of the company itself provides a lot of benefits also for our customers, because they don't have to trust us that the code is clean and that there are no backdoors or things like that, because they can, if they want, they can just check it themselves and convince themselves that everything goes right. Also, open source enables you to easily customize the software and adapt products as you need them. Apart from that, we are convinced that security and usability does not have to be a trade-off. So we provide software that is usable for everybody, but we do this with the maximum security in mind. So with this, we managed to get more than 25 million users over the whole world in more than 200,000 installations. And as a company, we managed to acquire more than 400 customers, which we are very proud of. So with this, let's start into today's webinar. What do we want to talk about? So the new release of OwnCloud Server brings a new object storage implementation, which I would like to shed some light on today. Also, pending shares and the overview of incoming shares is a nice topic also for users. We have new policies for password security. Also, GDPR compliance is a very hot topic these days, where we made some improvements for. And there are some further smaller topics I'd like to mention and introduce quickly. So first topic is object storage. So object storage has become increasingly popular in the last years, as it offers many benefits over traditional file system storages. It's not only that infinite scalability that enables to cope for an exponentially growing amount of data, but also its many features around redundancy that reduce cost and risk for enterprises that make these technologies so attractive. So for this, we invested a lot and developed a new future-proof implementation from scratch, which will drastically increase performance and reliability, as well as the protocol-related capabilities compared to our former implementation. Also, in contrast to the former object storage extension, The new one is licensed under GPL v2, so it's completely open source and usable for everybody, and yeah, can be found as usual on the OwnCloud marketplace. Also, we decided to completely focus on the S3 protocol for communicating with object storages, as the markets are clearly moving into this direction, and it's also supported by all relevant storage systems. This led us to deprecating the OpenStack Swift implementation, which we won't follow anymore. So the new implementation, which was just published, is also tested against popular object storage systems like the products from Scality or also Ceph, which should be known if you're dealing with these things. And we also have certifications now, at least for Scality. For Ceph, we're still in the process of certifying OwnCloud, but this will make sure that if you have such storage systems in-house, that OwnCloud will be fully compatible and can operate those reliably. So as I said, the new implementation will supersede the current object store extension. The one thing is, if you already operate OwnCloud on object store with the current implementation, then you will have to migrate, and these migrations will require individual guidance. So please get in touch with us to get this going. Yeah, the new implementation is still in technology preview state, as it doesn't have all the features yet we wanted to have. So once it has all the other features, it will leave that state, and the old implementation, or the current implementation, so to say, will be superseded. Currently, it supports S3 multi-bucket, which allows to deal with files that are larger than 5 GB, and also S3 versioning, which allows you to have all versions, like the versioning feature in OwnCloud, outsourced to the object store. And yeah, we will still continue to invest in that feature and improve compatibility with the S3 API. This means we will add features like direct download that enable that when a user downloads a file, this file does not need to go through OwnCloud, but the user will receive it directly from the object store, which it will increase performance dramatically. Also, S3 chunking will also be a topic or a feature that will be added subsequently. For you don't have to upload files completely into the object store, but you can split it into chunks and be able to resume, for example, if you have a bad connection or things like that. So far on the object store, let's switch over to some sharing improvements. So as you know, sharing is a core component of a content collaboration platform, and this is why we invest a lot in improving the user experience of sharing. And this is what we did with a new feature we call pending shares. So as you might know from federated sharing, there can be a stage between a user shares a file with another user, which is the pending state, so to say. So a user can decide if you want to get the share or if the user doesn't want it. This is especially important in group sharing, where a certain group of users gets a file shared, and maybe some of those group members actually don't need it. So this new feature is not enabled by default, as we wanted to stay with the current experience, so to say. So for that, we introduced a new sharing settings option, which is called automatically accept new incoming shares. An administrator needs to disable that. For that, users will get a notification when they receive a share. These notifications will come via email, and also with the internal notifications that are displayed in the web interface and also on the clients. And so users will be notified that they receive a new share, and they can then decide if they actually want it or not. And also this will influence if newly received files will be synchronized with the clients or not. Also, an important improvement that goes in line with this is the overview page of incoming shares, where we leverage the Shared with You section in the left sidebar. I will show that in a second. And yeah, this enables users to restore shares that they previously either rejected or unshared, and yeah, closes usability gaps we had before. So I would like to show you this. For that, I will share my screen. 1 second. So now you should be able to see my browser. I have 2 browsers open to demonstrate how 2 users interact with each other. So here in the first browser, I log in as Alice in OwnCloud 10.09. Go into the other browser and log in as Bob. So now as Alice, I would like to share this OwnCloud manual file, and I just go as usual to the sharing tab, and yeah, I want to share it with Bob. Oops. Just enter the name and click on it, so the share will be established. Okay, so now it's there. I switch over to the other browser where I'm logged in as Bob. And yeah, previously, in previous versions, the file would just appear here in the list. And also, if I have had a client connected, it would start synchronizing. So now, this is not the case, but there's a notification, and Bob also received an email that informs him of the new share. And if I click on it, I see that it's Alice who shared that manual file with me. So now I can just click on accept. And once the page reloads, it's here, shared by Alice. So, so now, if Bob now decides that he doesn't need the share anymore, he can click on unshare here, and that's also something that some users do unintentionally. So now, in previous versions, the file is just gone now, even though for Alice it appears to be still shared, and Bob would not have any chance on restoring it. He would have to call Alice to share it with him again. And this is a huge usability gap, which we closed by using this Shared with You section. Bob can just click on it, and he sees this file, which has a state. It is declined, and yeah, obviously came from Alice. So you have all the information about this unshared share, so to say. And yeah, just need to click on accept, and it's there again, as you can see. So easy as this. Okay, let me switch over to the presentation again. The next topic is the new password policy extension. As you might know, user passwords can be a weak point, even though web platforms provide a very high level of security in general, because users choose themselves, and some of them use weak passwords, or some of them use the same password for many platforms, and if one of them gets compromised, OwnCloud will also be compromised. And to cope for this, we provide the password policy extension, which enables administrators to define certain password requirements. As you can also see on the screenshot on the right, you can, for example, define some minimum characters or a minimum count of lowercase and uppercase and special characters and things like that. All of this is not new. This existed in the past as well. But now with the 10.09 release, we come up with version 2.0 of that password policy extension. And this is also, as well as the object store extension, now released under GPL v2. So it's not part of the Enterprise Edition anymore. It's as a security feature, it should be in every OwnCloud. So we decided to open it up for everybody. And also we added some new features for local user passwords. This means for either for guests or for users that administrators create locally. It's explicitly not for users that are imported from LDAP or from Active Directory, because these systems have their own ways of dealing with such policies. So what is actually new? One thing is password expiration. I think that's something you know maybe from Windows logins. It's a way to force users to change their password. It's possible to trigger that manually if, as an administrator, or you can configure some intervals where users are then forced to change their password. Otherwise, they can't log in anymore. Also, we took care on the user experience here, and you inform users via email and also via internal OwnCloud notifications. And this is possible a configurable amount in days before the password expires, and also when the password has expired. Furthermore, there's a password history feature now, which prevents users from choosing one of their last passwords again. And also administrators are enabled to force users to change their password upon first login. Also, a new extension that is in the making currently, or it's almost finished, is the native brute force protection. This prevents attackers from guessing passwords by adding an artificial delay after a wrong password has been entered. So yeah, as I said, this will become available soon, also via the OwnCloud Marketplace, and will also be usable by every OwnCloud administrator. So yeah, the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, should be also known, I think, by everybody who's listening. It's in effect since May this year, and it's attracted a huge amount of attention as it strengthens data protection, of course. That's what it's tasked to do. And companies need to revise their processes. Of course, we want to make sure that OwnCloud service providers are compliant. And for this, you mainly need two things. One thing is that you tell users how personal data is processed. The second is that you provide contact details for the case when users require you to do something, like, for example, an account deletion request. And for this, it's now possible to specify links that guide the users to your imprint and also to your privacy policy. These are configurable via the user interface in the admin settings general section, and also via OCC if you want to automate this for several instances, for example. And yeah, the links you configure there will be shown on all public web pages. So for example, on the login page, and also on the public link page, and also in the footer of mail notifications. When users, for example, send public links via mail, then receivers will also get to see these links. If you have custom mail templates or themes in use, then these will require adaptation in order to show these links. In the release notes, we have detailed instructions on how you can do this. Apart from that, you can, of course, get in touch with us and we will assist you. Maybe I show this quickly again. Just share my screen. And I'm still here, logged in as Alice. I just log out. And then you can see here these two links. And as I said, of course, they will be displayed on all public pages and also in the mail notifications. Heading back to the presentation. So, yep, some smaller improvements, but still notable changes I would like to introduce is, on the one hand, the changed behavior of the exclude groups from sharing option, and also changes to the sharing autocomplete. To have the opportunity to show this a little better, I will share my screen again and show you directly in the user interface. For the first one, I need to log in as the admin user. Just heading over to the settings. And if you navigate to the sharing section, you will see this option here, exclude groups from sharing, which is mainly tasked to create a group of users that is not allowed to share. They will still be able to receive shares and to manage their own files, but they won't be able to create outgoing shares, so to say. In the past, this worked in a way that when you have one user that is member of, say, just for example, the admin group, then they won't be able to share. But if this user also is member of another group, then this setting didn't apply and they would be able to share. So now we changed this behavior. So if a user is in one of the groups that are excluded here, they won't be able to share. So this is actually how you expect it to work, and yeah, how it works from now on. Another thing is the sharing autocomplete. For that, I head over to Files, View. I think most of you know this. When you want to share with a user, say I want to share with Alice, I only hit ALIC, for example, and it will show me Alice as a suggestion. With 10.08, we changed that you need at least to enter 4 characters at least as a further security measure, because it would be very easy to collect usernames via the API if you only have to enter 2 characters, because yeah, there are not many combinations, so to say, to get all the usernames of an instance. So for that, we changed that minimum amount of letters to 4. But then we realized that this goes at the expense of usability. So we decided to set it back to 2 characters to trigger that autocomplete, but we made that value configurable. So if you have really high security requirements, you can still set it to 4 or even more if that's better applicable for you or for your scenario. Okay, going back to the presentation, we also did some improvements around theming. So the activity emails are now available via HTML templates, so they look a little more nice. And also we changed, for example, the wording of the mail notifications. And yeah, if it makes sense for an admin to take a look at those and yeah, see if that fits for their requirements or expectations, and if not, maybe adapt those. Also, we solved many issues that were known in previous versions. For those, if you want to know some details on that, that's listed in the release notes. And for even more details, we have the changelog where you can actually see every single change. So if you're an administrator operating OwnCloud, before upgrading, please check the release notes as they contain many useful and important hints, which you should know before you start your upgrade. Okay, so before we have some minutes for questions, I'd like to make a short announcement on our own account and invite you to our yearly OwnCloud Conference, which takes place on September 18 to 21st in Nuremberg, Germany, where our headquarters is based. We're going to do this at the Technical University of Nuremberg. Have many nice rooms there, and yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a customer or a community member. This is a great opportunity for you to get to know the people behind OwnCloud and watch many talks around all aspects of OwnCloud. We will also have some prominent guest speakers, like for example Felix von Leitner, who is pretty prominent in the German-speaking text scene. He's also known as Fefe and writes a blog. And yeah, as I said, he's quite famous. Some of you might know him. And of course, all the OwnCloud experts will be available for discussions. We will show updates on the roadmap, on latest features and technologies, and also you will be able to get free administration trainings. And of course, if you have something to say, if you have ideas, or want to talk about best practices around OwnCloud, you're very welcome to give a talk on your topic. So with this, you get more information on owncloud.org. You can register there and join us. With this, I'm looking forward to meet and discuss with you there. And we have a good time. We are going to do a conference party as well. So with that, I think we can head over to the questions. Let me see what we have. Are there questions? Okay, maybe one question by Teddy. Are these password policies integrated with the guest app, where the guest app should create random passwords that match this policy? Yes, they are integrated. Yeah, definitely. That should work. Guest accounts are, as I said, one of the main accounts or user types where these policies apply on. So yeah, this should work. Okay. Another question by Michelle. At the beginning of the presentation, under the security heading, it is mentioned that OwnCloud has 3 types of encryption. What does this mean? So yes, we have three types or three-tiered encryption technology or system, or however you call it. It starts on the one hand with transport encryption. So this is what you know as SSL or TLS. So each communication between server and client is encrypted via SSL or TLS. The second pillar is storage encryption, where we have different kinds of ways to encrypt files that users place on that storage. One is it's a complex construction, so to say, but in the end, it's the one is user-based. So you have the user password, which is ultimately the key to encrypt and to decrypt the files. And there's another one which we call master key encryption, where the administrator has one master key which enables to decrypt all the data of all users. In addition, we also have support for HSM, which are hardware security modules, and this enables administrators to outsource that key, that master key, so to say, to a secure hardware module that saves it and that where you can't get the key if you're not entitled to get it, so to say. And that's storage encryption. And the third one is the actual end-to-end encryption, which was released some months ago. This is actually a client-side encryption where files uploaded to OwnCloud are encrypted with a key that resides on the user's workstation and can only be encrypted by the recipient with their key that they only have locally. So you can make sure that anybody who has access to the storage will not be able to read these files. If you want to know more about that, we have the end-to-end encrypted sharing extension on the OwnCloud Marketplace, and we will do some. We will provide some more information and also do a webinar on this in the upcoming months. So I hope this answers your question. Keep tuned on our communication channels. We will bring up more around this soon. Okay, another question by Faris. Can we integrate it with my AD users? I mean to log in with my Active Directory users instead of creating users manually. I think if I get it right, that's a general question around OwnCloud. So, and I can answer it with a clear yes. So we have an extension which we call AD LDAP integration. This enables you to connect OwnCloud with all LDAP speaking user directories, so to say, also Microsoft Active Directory, of course, and allows you to synchronize the users you have in there with the OwnCloud database and use OwnCloud with those users. Yes. Okay, one last question by Byron. Are there tier pricing for server size implementations? I want to build my own cloud for carving out space for my client as I provide service. I'm not sure if I fully understand that one, but yes, there is a tiered pricing, so to say, but it's not, it depends how you define server size. Our pricing goes by user count. So we have prices on our page, OwnCloud.com, so you can take a look there. The base pricing starts with 50 users for each edition we provide. And yeah, we have also individual pricing if you have more users than this. Okay, so with this, I hope all questions are answered. At least I don't see any more. There's one last one came in last second. The question is from Bruno. Where can we find the password management interface you were talking previously? So I think you're referring to the password policy extension. This one needs to be installed from the OwnCloud Marketplace. If you are a customer and have the Enterprise Edition, then it's included. You will just have to activate it. And if not, you can just use the Market app via the interface and download it from the Marketplace, install it, and then you will find it if you're logged in as an administrator, and go to the settings and to the security section. There you will find that interface. There's also documentation on that, so if you just Google for that, you will find that quite easily. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. We're also 10 minutes over time, so I think we can close here. And yeah, I'd like to thank you for attending. I hope it was good information for you. And yeah, wish you a very nice day and hope to have you in the next webinars as well. Thank you. Goodbye.